channel. I am not a singer. I don't know what that was. But anyways, today we're going to be discussing ways to make your CV pop, shine, and bang with little to no experience. First of all, let's just get this big fat elephant out of the way. No formal working experience doesn't mean you have no experience, period. I mean, you've lived your life up to this point, and I'm sure you've had experiences up to this point. So, the thing of little to no experience, it's a catch-all term, it's a convenient term, but it's really not true. There isn't a person who isn't experienced. But you know how jobs are. They can be very finicky about this. This sometimes is a bottom line to exclude people. But if you have little to no experience, there are still jobs out there looking for people just like you. And it's just a matter of being able to present yourself in a way that is employable. One thing that I want to mention, and maybe I will discuss more in other videos, is the fact that the hiring process is quite layered, it's quite complex, and it's not free from prejudice like everything else in life, unfortunately. So the tips that I'm giving you here are just to give you a good foundation so that you know what, my CV is the very best that I could do. If there's any other barrier, then so be it. So this is just to give you a good footing. There's so much that goes into hiring, and perhaps you are the perfect fit and it's just your CV that's holding you back. So this is just a way to ensure that you're putting your best foot forward in this time. The job market in South Africa. I'm going to start rambling. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for tuning in. Tell your friends so they can tell their friends, so that we can all be friends on my channel. Alrighty, bye. Okay, so what is a CV? I think most of us know that CV stands for Curriculum Vitae. I hope I said that right. It's also the same thing as a resume, but if you want to get technical, a resume is quite in detail. It's more of a story of your life, and the CV is what you've done. Essentially, a CV, as you know, is a chronological listing of your experience, your education, your skills, and also kind of showcasing your personality. Now, the two things that I want you to remember about CVs that go unsaid is that CVs are a place where you need to showcase your confidence and value. Remember that? CV, confidence, value. Now, don't forget all the other stuff. That's important. But in the back of your mind, just keep the idea that you need to be able to showcase your confidence in yourself, your confidence in your capabilities, and your confidence for the position that you're applying for. And you need to showcase your values, what you value as a person, the values that you take with you to work, and also you need to showcase the value that you can bring into a company. Got it? Good. All right, moving on to my next point. Now, every place you apply to won't have the same requirements, but my next tip for entrance into the working world is to please include a motivational letter or cover letter. Even a reference letter would be amazing. The reason why I say this is the stuff that's written in your CV sometimes just needs your voice behind it to bring it to life. Your cover letter or resume, your cover letter or motivational letter helps to explain to the employee your position and what you're trying to achieve. Sometimes they can see, okay, this person has done X, Y, and Z, but why do they want to work in my company? So you could say something along the lines of, I am a recent graduate, I studied such and such, and I'm hoping to pursue a career in this industry. Or, for example, I've read a CV where someone said, I've spent X amount of years in different industries, but I would like to make a change and join hospitality. And now, obviously, they have work experience in another field, but they have zero experience in hospitality. So their motivational letter or cover letter is kind of giving a voice to their ambitions and structuring their CV in such a way that the person reading it can understand, okay, this person was studying IT for so many years, realized they had a passion for hospitality. They went and they did a course, and now they're hoping for their first job in this industry. Let me give them a chance because they've explained to me their positioning and what they want so well. So if you can include it, don't skip on the cover letter or motivational letter. I know some people say that it is outdated, but personally, I don't believe so, and a lot of other people don't believe so. And also, it might not be a requirement, but if the person is interested in your CV, they'll read it and they'll get to know a little bit more about you, and they'll have an understanding of why they should give you the job. Okay, so now you know what kind of message your CV must convey. You know that you need to have a motivational or cover letter if they allow for one. Don't force it if they don't want one. Adhere to the rules of the place you're applying to. And now you need to know about the contents of what you're going to put inside your CV. So let me just say you need to list your transferable skills. Let's focus on that keyword, transferable. What does that mean? It means the skills. Well, transferable means to be able to move from one place to another. But in terms of transferable skills, these are the skills that you can take from one area of your life and transfer them, move them into another area of your life. Let me give an example. You have made PowerPoints or presentations, drafted essays, written documents at school, university, whatever for your course. So you're familiar with the whole Microsoft suite. You're familiar with Excel, you're familiar with PowerPoint, you're familiar with Word. That is a transferable skill. So you need to highlight that, put that somewhere on your CV, perhaps have a section of transferable skills and say, X, Y, and Z, so that the person reading your CV can have an idea, not have an idea, they can understand where you're coming from in terms of certain skill levels. Because it's one thing to see that someone has zero working experience, but at least okay, they're familiar with Microsoft Word. I won't be teaching them from zero, they've got some form of information. We're working with something. Let's say, for example, you have been in debate, so you have speaking skills, you know how to present an argument really well. That is a transferable skill. You can say you're versed in public speaking, you're versed in, well, I wouldn't say sales, but you can pitch ideas, you can debate, you can hold your own. What else is another transferable skill that I can give you guys? The basis of transferable skills is just showing them that, okay, you are not familiar with the working world, but work as a concept is not strange to you. You know how things work. You obviously need to gauge what kind of industry you're going to, and most often than not, the industry that you're trying to go to relates to things you've already been doing in one way or another. So this helps for them to kind of have an understanding of where you're at in the skills level, and also have an understanding of how much they need to train you, and also seeing that, okay, this person can integrate really well into my organization because they're familiar with these sort of things, and we can teach them some other things. So it's kind of a meeting in the middle that happens when people hire individuals with little to no work experience. This is an aside, but you have to keep in mind that not all companies are looking for 5-10 year veterans. They need people who are starting out. They need people at a lower experience threshold, because that's just the cycle of organizations. They need people to train up. They need people to do certain jobs, and they can't expect people who've been there for 10 years to do certain things. And also the people who are there for 1-2 years move up and they stop doing certain things. So it is a cycle. And you have to go into your first opportunity with the understanding that, okay, this is not where I'm going to stay. This is what I'm doing now to get where I want to go next. And usually employers are also of that same mindset that, okay, we're starting here with you and we want to see you grow. My final tip is bring back the basics. We've sped through all these other lovely, fluffy, important points, but I just want to bring you back to the basics. You know what I mean by this? Okay. The CV that you're presenting to a company is a form of communication. So you want to be able to convey all these wonderful things about yourself, but there's no use if they don't have the basic communication. They need to know your name. They need to know the area you live in, maybe not your exact address. They need to know, well, it depends on certain industries. You know, I would not recommend putting your ID number, but you can put your date of birth, perhaps. You can put, if you have a license, what kind of license. I think the health thing, like excellent health, good health, is outdated. You don't need to mention that at all. What else would I say you need to mention? Just don't forget the basics, man. Like, I've seen some really wonderful CVs and a person will put a contact number that doesn't work. So make sure you keep your CV up to date, or they'll forget to put their contact number, or they'll put an email address that doesn't work, or they'll spell something wrong. And these mistakes frustrate me so much because it's like, dang, if you can't get it right in your CV, you know, the person on the other end kind of loses faith in you because they're like, well, Tom sounds really great, but Tom couldn't even, you know, spell this word correctly. He couldn't be bothered to spell check his own CV. So, you know, that kind of stuff. You don't want to work against yourself. You know, there's so many other barriers we have to face. If the one thing that we can put forward can be spotless, I mean, why not? So with that said, I want you to take all the other stuff I've mentioned, put it in, draft up your most beautiful, wonderful CV, and then read it over. Maybe have a friend read it over, maybe have a family member read it over if you're more comfortable with that. And yeah, what do I want to say to you guys before I go? One, I want to say thank you for watching my video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying YouTube. And yeah, it's a fun space for me. And thank you guys for allowing me to do my thing and entertaining it. Next thing I want to say is the job market in South Africa is tough. Like, it's not in your head. You're not making it up. We're all feeling it. And it's quite competitive. And yeah, there's a lot of people, I want to say thousands, it's more likely millions, who are frustrated right now with the job market. So I just want you to not feel at fault or to put yourself down too much if you're not getting an opportunity right away. It's an arduous process. I've been on I don't want to say I've been on the job market. I've been in the position of searching for a job, and it's hard. It's daunting. It's work on its own, and you constantly have to pick yourself up and motivate yourself. Don't stop. Keep doing that. You'll get what you want. You'll get what you deserve sooner rather than later. I believe in you if no one else does. And finally, the job market in South Africa is not without prejudice. You could have the creme de la creme of CVs, and someone might choose the other person because they look a certain way, they sound a certain way. And this is not to discourage you. This is just to let you know that sometimes it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's just the prejudice of the other person on the other end. Keep pushing your CV out there. Your space is there. There's someone who's looking for an employee who's just like you, and there's someone who's looking to give someone like you an opportunity. Okay? Awesome. Thank you so much for watching my video. Stay tuned for more stuff. Suggest more topics I can do if you'd like. Comment, like, share this with someone who might need it. Thank you so much, and ciao.